Earlier this week, Rin Reed from Creator Congress sent me this clip of Fox News' Jesse Waters attempting to explain the media narrative landscape of our current political moment. I found this very interesting, and I think that we should break it down.
We are waging a 21st century information warfare campaign against the left, and they are using tactics from the 1990s. They are holding tiny press conferences, tiny little rallies. They're screaming into the ether on MSNBC.
To be honest, some of what he's saying here is true. Messaging and narrative building on the left has been struggling to find consistency, volume, and penetration into the mainstream. The reality, which Waters conveniently neglects to mention, is quite different. For starters, the far right has been building this project over the past 40 years, from the repeal of the Fairness Doctrine under Reagan, to the syndication of Rush Limbaugh across the country, to the following examples that Waters lays out as the current right-wing media ecosystem.
What you're seeing on the right is asymmetrical. It's like grassroots guerrilla warfare. Someone says something on social media, Musk retweets it, Rogan podcasts it, Fox broadcasts it, and by the time it reaches everybody, millions of people have seen it. It's free money. And we're actually talking about expressing information.
The details that Waters conveniently neglects are the financial interests in building this ecosystem of misinformation. The idea that any part of the right's socio-political dominance of media narrative is, quote, asymmetrical grassroots guerrilla warfare is nonsense. Waters knows it's a lie as he's safe behind his $12 million a year contract, which isn't surprising. He also never mentions any commitment to the truth of this information that they're quote-unquote expressing. The grassroots sourcing of narratives he's referring to are expressed by social media bad actors. A great example of this is Libs of TikTok, an account on Twitter that is controlled by Chaya Raichik, who began in 2021 by sifting through TikTok, sharing the most extreme examples of behavior that she knew would trigger and scare her conservative friends. Her propaganda campaign has since exploded to over 4 million followers and is regularly retweeted by platform owner Elon Musk to his over 200 million followers, and then is sourced again by broader media outlets, more mainstream right-wing media outlets like Fox for their incendiary content. There's also plenty of, let's say, influencers in the right-wing media sphere who are propped up by intentional capital investment. Take the John M. Olin Foundation, for example. It was a foundation that made major contributions through the 90s and early 2000s to conservative think tanks, media outlets, and was also an early investor in the conservative legal network, the Federalist Society. Through its collegiate program, the foundation propped up such right-wing grifters as Laura Ingraham, Michelle Malkin, and Dinesh Illiberal Education D'Souza. The other right-wing influencer the foundation propped up early on is none other than Peter Thiel. Going way back to his post-law school days in the 90s, Thiel turned to writing right-wing culture war screeds, one of which is called The Diversity Myth, about how intolerant college campuses have become to conservative students. The foundation found this particularly useful and invested in the young Thiel to help spread the word. Well, let's get back to Waters, who conveniently neglects to address any of this. Nor does he address the ownership and motives of these platforms where these media narratives are being developed. Musk's X, for instance, or Mark Zuckerberg's Meta, conveniently serve up this quote-unquote grassroots content to Sinclair-owned conservative talk radio that then rolls into Rupert Murdoch's Fox News, which appears on Trump's TV and then back again, like a snake eating its own tail. There's nothing grassroots about a cyclical, billionaire-controlled ecosystem of media platforms relying on algorithms rewarding emotionally inciting content to their users to make billions in profit for themselves and their friends. We are in a deeply broken landscape when it comes to the state of media and news reporting. You don't need me to explain that investigative journalism is being dismantled and sold for parts in exchange for AI slop and algorithms that amplify social media posts as so-called news. Some of these Silicon Valley overlords are even trying to buy out the dregs of some struggling newsrooms. Last year, Google offered generous grants to news outlets that were willing to publish just a couple stories every month, generated using their proprietary synthetic text extruder. Waters doesn't mind lying and pretending that this sad reality is a victory for the public good because he's literally being paid millions of dollars a year to comply with a system built to reduce very serious and complex issues to say whatever pushes the right emotional buttons in his audience. But hey, at least he's getting paid.
It's free money.
It is in fact free money when you compare the complete lack of effort it takes to do his job, reciting hateful gossip from social media for $12 million a year, to the actual hard work it takes to do local investigative journalism for, say, $40,000 a year. The thing that we don't see is the true cost that all of us pay, especially the working people who watch him.